Hello and welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. This is race number 3 here in Jarama. It's the final weekend of this season, 8 racing events, and it all comes to a conclusion at Jarama here. The fans are lining up to getting good autographs, and we like to sneak here into the line. We do see Clemens Hecker and Steffi Harm here. You see Jochen Hahn all taking pictures and signing up. And here's Andre Kursem. Sorry. Andre, yesterday was very successful for you. How did you survive the night?
Oh, the night was okay, and yes, it was a short night, and yes, hopefully we can do it again.
You were truly fighting at Super Pole, reaching P number 10. What do you expect from the race?
Yes, hopefully we can go under the first 8 positions and can start in the first row, maybe in the second row in the second race, and yes, maybe we can choose the podium again.
Thank you very much. So they need to be quick, not also on the racing track, but also with all the autographs. Antonio, this is hometown. Are you still enjoying it here at Jarama?
Yeah, sure. I mean, always, it's a very good atmosphere, a lot of fans, but yeah, pretty good, fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's continue. Stefan, we missed you in the Super Pole session, but can we see you back in the race?
Yes, I come back in the race.
That.
Yeah, from the last position, but I come.
I didn't want to need to say that, but yes, it's true. Of course, we missed him at Super Pole. He's competing from the back of the grid. This is the back of the line. You can see here Shane Brereton, Joe Newell, and Theo Covey, all of them taking autographs. So this is very, very nice. And now we do snap into the grid with Chess Draycoat and Joachim Eberts.
Yes, we do indeed move on to the grid very, very quickly. Thank you very much, Christina. Great to see the drivers getting into the thick of it, and great to see the fans all enjoying themselves out here in the Spanish sunshine as well. Hello, everyone. Chaz Draycott here on site at the wonderful Jarama, commentating on the action here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The third and penultimate race of the championship is ready to go, or at least, sorry, the third race of the weekend, the penultimate race of the championship, if I explain it properly, is pretty much ready to go. And we were just seeing there the wonderful Stefan Fast, still in good spirits ahead of the final race of the day. First race of the day. I can't get my words out today. I do apologise. You see everybody here just chilling in the sunshine, waiting for the trucks to get to the grid. Pictures being taken with the legend that is Frank in front of the Iveco S-Way pace truck, our gorgeous bio LNG powered machine. Frank gave me quite horrendous motion sickness in that machine yesterday morning as we did the familiarization laps around the circuit. I was actually sat on the bed in the back of the truck as Judith Thurman was in the passenger seat. And here is our driver's parade, which went on not long ago. All of our drivers took to the top of this wonderful bus, which made its way around the circuit, and they gave fans a big reason to cheer, all just welcoming them and giving them a good wave. And it's great to get the drivers all out in one go in front of these incredible fans here. I was stood on one of the balconies near the media centre, and the noise from the horns and the cheering and all of the clapping, it was absolutely amazing. They really showed their appreciation in huge numbers around this circuit. And the drivers, of course, get a wonderful view of the circuit that they wouldn't normally. Now, they were told at the driver's briefing, especially by Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, to mind the bridge. And I'm not sure whether he has previous contact with that bridge in his head, but he's quite the tall guy, is Heinrich Clemens-Hecker. And he was the first one to say, if we are going on that bus, mind your head. And he got a very good laugh, so I imagine there may have been some incident there before that I potentially did not know about. We have trucks making their way around to the grid now, though. Jose Rodriguez and Sasha Lenz making their way towards us. Sasha needs to have a very strong race here, with Jochen Hahn basically not scoring in this one. The ultimatum is for Jochen Hahn to finish second in the championship and for Theo Calve to win the Promoters' Cup. Both of them need to respectively just finish their own races and get the job done today. There's some of Jamie Anderson Racing team. They're going to be happy with 6th position on the grid, but it's a very, very tough task for him to take the Promoters' Cup Championship now, with Theo being 22 points clear, and you get 20 points for the first race win of the day. You will only get 10 for winning the second race, and each position is only worth 1 point less than the one before it, so It's a almost impossible challenge. There is Jamie lining up alongside Jochen Hahn, the 6-time champion, starting this race on 5th position. Not quite where he would normally be, but he just needs to play it safe in this race, and he will confirm his 2nd place finish in the championship. Only once in the last 10 years has Jochen not finished in the top 3 of the standings, and that was last year, hence him wearing the number 4. He's one of the drivers that often wears their finishing position the following year, and that's something that I really like that drivers do, because it means that you know who to keep an eye on for the next season if you pick up that that's where they finished last time out. There he is, the man himself, ready inside the cab. This is going to be his 645th start in the championship. Absolutely amazing. There is the gorgeous winding circuit. We're going to have another look at it here, just the full layout for you. And you can see the right-hander near the start of the lap at Varzi into Le Mans and then Farina before going up the hill at Pegaso and over to Ascari. It's a very, very intense and important part of the lap, because drivers need to build up all of the pace up there to make sure that they get a good run through Ascari, so they get hard on the brakes into Portago. And Fangio at the start of the lap as well. It's a very deceivingly difficult little left kink on the way into the hairpin, and it's an all-important corner because the drivers need to make moves early on, and one driver that might not be looking to make moves, maybe just hold position, is going to be Teo Calve, who could take the Promoters' Cup Championship in this race. He is with Christina.
Absolutely. If he ends the race 4th or even better, then the job is done. How do you go into that race? Are you nervous?
No, I'm okay. Yeah, I have no pressure. Jamie is in front. I have no problem with it. He was faster than me this morning, but yeah, I just have to finish, like you said, 4th minimum. So it will be okay. Don't take any risk this race. Of course, I will try to finish 8th or 7th. Better 7th for the points, because I'm only at 1 point from Steffi, though. So if I'm in front of her, it's really nice. But yeah, I just have to be safe and to finish.
We talked to Steffi, and she mentioned that the race is on between you two guys. Keeping out of the race with Jamie Anderson on his elbows, but concentrate, completely focus on Steffi then.
Yeah, of course, the best will be the 7th position, just in front of her. Like this, I take 2 more points, and the last race will be really interesting. But yeah, honestly, I don't want to put the pressure on myself, and just do my race, do like I know how to do it, and it will be perfect.
Keep cool then. All right. Thank you very much, Teo Calve. And we don't want to put the pressure on him as well, but we love interesting races, don't we, Chaz?
We do indeed, yes, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Teo Calve approaches this race, because at the end of the day, he's a competitive racing driver and he may want to play it safe and just finish the race. But if he gets a sniff of an opportunity to still beat Jamie in this race, and of course Steffi, I'm sure that he will give it a go and try and make as many moves as he can. There is Andre Kurzim, yesterday's 2nd race winner. He was a very happy man, and I spoke to Sven Walter this morning, and he was saying that the team was in really high spirits. They've got a good setup ahead of today, and they are all... You can see there the wonderful yellow umbrella on the back of the truck. Let's hope they remember to get rid of that. So, Norbert Kish takes his 15th pole position of the season. He starts alongside Adam Lachko. Adam having a good qualifying session there to end up on the front row. He's going to challenge him from the outside of that front row in the Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliner. Sasha Lenz and Antonio Albertetti make up the 2nd row of the grid. 2 guys that will really be pushing hard to try and potentially be in the mix if an opportunity arises for a race win. Jochen Hahn just needs to basically finish this race near Sasha Lenz, or at all, to be honest, to take 2nd in the championship. He's alongside Jamie Anderson on row 3, the highest placed driver in the Promoters' Cup on the grid. He's got Teo Calve just behind him in 7th, and then Steffi Helm. Plenty of battles for Teo to think about, as mentioned there when he spoke to Christina. He's got the Promoters' Cup to think about, and 7th overall in the standings. Then we have Andre Kurzim and Jose Rodriguez on the 5th row of the grid. Those two both just about making it into Superpole, and then, of course, converting that into 9th and 10th. Shane Brereton next up in a team name that I've apparently been getting wrong for a long, long time. It's not Apollo Tyres TOR Truck Racing, it's just Tour Truck Racing. So I apologise to the guys, but I've at least got 2 races to get it right for the end of the season. Jonathan Andre is 13th alongside Heinrich Quantstetter. Then we have 15th place Stefan Faas at the end. But at the very other end of the grid, we have Norbert Kisch after taking his 15th pole position. He's with Christina.
Happy anniversary, 50th pole position in your career. You did it well. Yeah, it was a jubilee time, but the race is yet to be. And we know that race number 1 at a day, it's always very, very important for you. How do you go into that race?
Yes, thank you. I didn't even know about that it's the 50th. It's nice. And yeah, for the race, you know, same like always. Of course, we try to win because we are here to do that. And, you know, like normal, try to prepare everything in the formation lap, do the best start I can do, and then be brave on the first braking zone, you know, and try to stay in front.
How dangerous is it to competing against Adam Lechko in the first turn?
You know, I wouldn't call it dangerous, you know, but for sure Adam is a fierce competitor, you know, and I'm sure that maybe he has some plans, you know, to overtake me. So of course I will have to defend myself. But you know, it's a race. It's always a good race, you know, to race against these guys. So I'm happy to do it.
Absolutely, and thanks to Joachim Eberts, is our German commentator, the man of the statistics. So he find that out. Greetings to you, Ebi. The Ebi system is working, and of course we could provide it right now. Norbert Kisch, knowing he's on 50th pole position in his career.
Yes, indeed. 15 for the season, 50 in his career. And as you see, it's all just enjoyment now for Norbert Kisch after an incredible championship in 2022. There is Judith Ehrmann in her final race day in the championship, and Jane Brunbigler as well. Fantastic stuff. Great camaraderie as ever on the grid. And you see, this is all B-roll footage for later in the season, and any future seasons as well. Maybe even in the video at the end of season awards this evening as well. Fantastic stuff. There is Steffi Helm. She's got some battles on her hands as well today, but again, always in high spirits. She gave us a good wave and a smile after warm-up as well earlier today. Some of our wonderful members of the FIA here to make sure everything all runs smoothly. And Anderson, Paul there discussing the rules with one of John Newell's team. I heard the phrase, you know the rules by now, so let's see how that gets interpreted in the race, shall we? Plenty of interpretations on the side of Jamie Anderson's truck, though. Big rubber marks down the side of it, but that's just part of truck racing, isn't it? These things are monsters on the road, and of course contact is pretty inevitable. Lewis there giving us a very good view of some of the marks and dents and scrapes on the front corners of Jamie's machine. But I must say, aside from these little marks and things that you do see when you get them up close, they are immaculately prepared machines. Behind them, inside the chassis, the engines, everything, every little component just looks so perfect when you see them in the paddock. And of course, we get to see them in the wonderful Spanish sunshine on the racing circuit today. There is Sasha Lenz's machine, number 2. He's going to be starting from the second row of the grid, third position on the inside line. He just needs to try and hope that Jochen runs into some sort of trouble today, but knowing the sportsmen that they are, they would never wish that upon each other. They all want to see their fellow competitors finish, and finish well as well. It's just great sportsmanship in this championship. And Sasha is a very, very potent competitor, and you can guarantee that he will not give up until the very final moments. When he knows that the race is determined, he will then just go from there. There he is, quick thumbs up as well as he focuses ahead of the race. And Lewis will continue on, I'm sure, to try and get more footage from elsewhere. It's a very interesting front row, though. I'm excited to see what Adam Lechko can do. And Lewis captures some of our marshals having a quick discussion. That gentleman clearly doesn't want to get involved. A thumbs up and a wave from some more of our officials. Lovely stuff. There's the two contrasts there, as you see. And there is the Reveche Racing team giving us a quick wave. And as you see, they are very calm and collected ahead of the 31st and penultimate race of the season, third race of the weekend. Not long left to go now, though, before proceedings get underway. We have our official truck, the beautiful Ford F-Max, making its way around the circuit for its inspection lap. Now, this is just to make sure, of course, that there's no debris, no spillages, nothing on the circuit that could cause any kind of harm to the racing or affect it negatively in any way. And it certainly gets put through its paces by Ralf Gregor over the course of the weekend. But it's a very powerful machine, and it handles very well as well. I can tell you that. There's been many a moment when I've been out in the Ford F-Max and nearly ended up falling out of the window because the cornering forces are that extreme when they throw it around. You may see some smoke from the tyres here as well on this absolutely wonderful day just north of Madrid. Now, this Ford F-Max was developed by over 500 Ford engineers, 15,500 hours of lab testing and over 5 million kilometers, which made up the overall testing and development program for this machine. And of course, it certainly worked well because it was and still is the International Truck of the Year from 2019 at least. And we are delighted to have it on our roster here for these European Truck Racing Championship weekends. He's going over Ascari now into the hairpin at Portago. Very difficult part of the track to get right because you're throwing the truck one way, then the other, managing the weight transfer and then slamming on the brakes and just throwing it in. If you're Ralf, he's absolutely launching this thing around. But that's the best way for it. I spoke to Christina at the start of the qualifying broadcast earlier on, mentioning that the industry can benefit from the racing because the trucks can get thrown around a circuit in a very, very testing environment. And you can put them right to their paces, strain every component and check how everything works. And then, of course, put it into practice on the public roads as well. Of course, not maybe the same driving style, but you get what I mean. The same technology and the same equipment used in the same way. There you see one of the very packed grandstands here. That's just on the outside of the Farina hairpin. The track that... Well, the piece of track that you see behind it is just the exit of Varzi, which is the right-hander just before it. This is the official truck now coming out of Monza down towards Tunnel. And Ralf, I'm sure, will still throw it in. Avoids the curb, avoids penalty markers, of course, and makes his way into the pit lane. Only a couple of minutes now before we get the race underway. And I'm sure everybody is excited because there can be quite the celebration after this one if Teo Calve takes the Promoters' Cup. And of course, Jochen Hahn will be quite relieved if he takes second in the championship here as well. Still have to think about the battle between Steffi Halm and Teo Calve too. Only a couple of points between the pair of them. And it can swing one way then the other very quickly in these race meetings, especially with the reverse grid that we have later on. But this is the calm before the storm now, where all the personnel make their way off the grid. Frank waits patiently in the Iveco S-Way pace truck, and all the teams, as you see here, make their way into the pit lane, and they prepare themselves for what is to come. It's not often that we do see the teams get fully utilised in the pit lane, to be honest, in terms of any repairs or anything, or checks over with potential damage to the trucks, which again just shows the reliability and sturdiness of these racing machines. The final boards get put out. The 1 minute board has been shown. The 30-second board will be up in just a moment. There is Rolf Werner again in front of the Iveco S-Way. One final inspection of everything being up to standard, and he will make his way off the grid, much like everybody else will. And there is the 30-second board now. Engines will start, and the nerves, I'm sure, for some of the drivers will start to build now. You can see the heat haze as well working wonders on our cameras. It is a much hotter day in Jarama than it was yesterday. And hopefully we won't see the drivers getting hot under the collar over the course of these two races. There is the green flag, and the Iveco makes its way down towards the first corner, and the grid will slowly crawl away from their respective starting positions. And we'll have another look down the order, shall we? Norbert Kish then takes his 15th pole position of the season from the 16 available on the calendar. An amazing feat, and as Christina pointed out, and thanks to EB, what we call the EB system, because he keeps track of all the statistics. It was the 50th pole position of Norbiki's career. Alongside him on the front row is Adam Lachko in the number 55 Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliner. Adam was hoping to try and grab third in the championship outright this weekend, but unfortunately after the first couple of races, he is now not in a mathematical position to do so. Next up we have Sascha Lenz. Sascha finished second in the championship last year, and unless there is a big change of circumstances here, he will finish this season in third place to Jochen Hahn. But still, another solid championship by Sascha and his team. He's got nearly 20 podium appearances throughout the season, and he's taken 2 race victories this year. He won the very first race of the season last year at the Hungaroring as well, proving straight off the bat that it doesn't take him long to get used to how the truck is set up and how it feels ahead of that particular season. Alongside him on the second row of the grid, we have Antonio Albertetti, the Spanish driver in 4th position on home soil once again this weekend, and certainly enjoying himself. He's got a lot of fans here and a lot of friends all visiting as well. The whole T-Sport Bernau awning has just been such a hive of activity every single time I go by. It's been brilliant to see. Also brilliant to see is these gorgeous, massive chrome bio-LNG tanks on the side of the Iveco S-Way, making its way just around Portago now at the hairpin, down towards Bugatti at the bottom of the hill. Third row of the grid is a very interesting one. Jochen Hahn trying to put pressure on Sascha Lenz to just take home second in the championship and confirm that as completed, with 1 race to go left in the season for him to enjoy. And then, of course, alongside him, Jamie Anderson is in quite the opposite situation. He's the driver that needs to gain the points rather than just saving them and maintaining an advantage. He's got a lot to do if he's going to beat Teo Calvi in this race, and he needs a lot of misfortune to come Teo's way. And as I mentioned before, we don't wish that on any of our drivers, and the drivers themselves do not wish that on their competitors. You know, it would be ideal for their situation, but they would never want that to happen to their fellow competitors. So around Monza we go then. Penultimate corner on the circuit, where yesterday we saw the 2 Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliners make contact right near the end of a very exciting race. We get ready to go for the penultimate time in 2022. So down the hill we go. The Iveco S-Way makes its way over into the pit lane, and for the 31st time this season, the lights come on, the trucks get ready, and we're racing in the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and Sascha Lenz does not get one of his typically good starts. Antonio Albertetti moves over from the left-hand side, covers off that inside line very, very quickly before they get down to New Villari. Important move for him, but that's also opened it up for Jamie Anderson, who's going to try and go around the outside. And Adam Lachko's been tipped sideways by Antonio. He's still sideways now, and he's still on the power. Oh, there's humongous contact. Jochen Hahn's up in the air, and he's latched onto the back of, who is that? Oh, it's Sascha Lenz, out of all people. There's bodywork and debris absolutely everywhere on the exit of turn 1. But the initial contact came from Antonio and Adam Lachko, the two of them quite literally latching, I've done it again, together, with Teo Calvi now moving up into 4th place, benefiting from that. He's ahead of Andre Kurzim, then Jamie Anderson. Oh, there was big contact in the background as well. Jose Rodriguez hitting Shane Brereton. And I still do not see Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. I haven't seen them come through the first sector because Jochen's truck was absolutely glued to the back of Sascha's, and I fear if they haven't been able to get out of the way, we may have a red flag scenario on our hands, but that's just speculation for now. We'll have to wait and see. But a very dramatic start all the same. And yes, red flag is out. I've just seen the flags at the side of the circuit there. And completely understandable. It's incredible how much of a sudden pinch point that first corner was. I was saying before, it's an important part, of course, for drivers to take advantage of whatever they may. And Antonio moves alongside Adam Lachko. I'm not sure if there will be some hand signals used there, or maybe a bit of sign language, but he obviously isn't very pleased with what went on there. They did make the initial contact, and you'll see here actually from this extraction vehicle just how big the body panels are if you do see any of them at the side of the road. But no, we go down towards Bugatti. Let's try and piece all that together. There is Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn's truck, and well, that's how Ford Transits are made, I believe. But wow, oh wow, that was a very dramatic opening moment to the race. Good to see that Sasha Lenz is okay. He's out the truck all fine. And well, it seems like a perfect example or a perfect moment to get what effectively are some of the show trucks out, some of the huge recovery trucks that we use. Don't think there was much Jochen could have done in that situation. I think he even received contact from the middle of the pack. But all I know is that the initial moment came from Adam Lachko. He was on the outside of Antonio Albertetti. He hit the right rear of Adam, and he was sideways for a long, long time. But then even further back in the pack, there was a big old push. And it seemed like Andre Kurzim and Jamie Anderson all went wide. And then all of a sudden, Jochen Hahn just ended up with the front end in the air. There was a humongous checkup in the middle of the pack, and it was actually Sasha Lenz and Jamie Anderson that made the contact, and then Jochen Hahn was right down the inside. And there was a big old whack, and suddenly he went up in the air, and that was it. And we find ourselves in a similar situation to what we had at Most earlier on in the championship in Czechia, where I believe it was Stefan Faas had his truck glued to the back of Steffi Halm's machine when the two of them had stuck together. It's quite the rescue operation when they do this, and of course they need to be careful that there's no major damage to the engine or the chassis as well. So everything will be checked over between the two races, but from what I can speculate here, I do not see either of these drivers continuing on in the race, which would give, unfortunately, that would be what decides second place in the championship, because there would be still 14 points between the two of them if it finished like this. And Jochen Hahn would be confirmed as second in the championship, with Sasha Lenz taking third. It's not how we want the races decided, but at the end of the day, it wasn't like they were fighting each other and, you know, it was a silly incident. It's just one of these things at the start. It can happen in truck racing. You can imagine that even in touring car championships and open wheel racing, quite a lot of space to play with, but not in the trucks. Now, I've been told we have a look back at exactly what happened. So there is Antonio. He hits Adam Lachko. He goes completely sideways. Then he straightens him up, but they're still sliding sideways. Sasha Lenz is into the side of Jamie Anderson. And then already, I believe maybe Jochen Hahn was pushed up into the air by Teo Calve, because he was already in the air before he hit Sasha Lenz's truck. Now, usually, if they mount each other like this as such, not that it happens every day, but usually it's because the two trucks involved have made contact with one another. So the truck behind just clips the rear wheel of the truck in front, and it launches the front end in the air, and then, of course, it comes crashing down on the rear bumper bar, which is what sort of clings them together. But in that situation there, it looked like Teo was down the inside of Jochen, and they made wheel-to-wheel contact, which put Jochen up in the air, and then he landed on Sasha because of the trajectory in which he was traveling. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Now, I've got another replay of it here as well. I've got a wonderful gentleman next to me called Sean from Sensata Smart Witness, and he's showing me the footage back again, and yeah, it definitely looks like Jochen is already in the air when he arrives at where Sasha is, but they were 3, even 4 wide further back in the pack. A number of them benefited massively from it, but then there was a big hit between Jose Rodriguez and Shane Brereton further back in the field. That was as they were coming out of the left-hander at Le Mans. Before Farina, I believe the two of them managed to carry on, but it's a real shame that we've had this start to what could have been an amazing day, a very positive day of racing, but unfortunately this is going to be quite the rescue operation. It's great to see this sort of thing, though, and the way that it works. Not the incident itself, of course, but just how the recovery operation goes about. If you've never seen this sort of thing before, it's quite impressive, must be said, because at the end of the day, you know how big vehicles can be if they're going to recover your car at the side of the road. So you can imagine if you have to recover a truck, as you see by the vehicles we have on offer here, we get some pretty beefy bits of kit that do the job. It's also nice to show as well and prove the point that they're not just show trucks that just get parked up and look pretty all the time. They get properly utilised and used for the right reasons. Now, the thing they need to be most careful of here, of course, with separating the two of them is just that they don't break anything in the moment where they sort of pull the tension on both trucks. They need to try and lift the front of Jochen's truck up where they can and quickly drive Sasha's machine out of the way, or tow it out of the way at least. I believe at Most we actually saw Steffi drive. And we are going to look back at the accident another few times just to try and pick apart what went on here. So you can see they're all too wide as they go into turn one. Although it's in reverse. My producer's just gone bonkers. But still, it's all part of the fun. So as they all were too wide, they suddenly all spread out. And at the end of the day, when you're further back in the pack and if you're on the inside line, it's very easy to see okay, I'm going to throw it down the inside there. And what we're going to do is throw the footage out for you again. So look at the big hit there from Lachko and Albertetti. They're both still sideways at that point. Anderson's already off the road. Now look, Jochen has already left the ground and he's not hit Sasha at that point. John Newell and Heinrich Clementecke around the outside. John Newell has to take evasive action and move to the left. Shane Brayton was right down the inside of all of it. John goes off the road and the medical car gets one hell of a view of it. There it is at full speed. So much going on in one moment. Even Jose Rodriguez and Shane Brayton making contact down the inside as well. And you can see the cab of Teo Calve's truck wobble around as it makes contact with Jochen Hahn. Very scary moment indeed. And I do actually think, looking just at how Jochen came into view there, I think he might have actually been the one to flip Sasha. So we're having a look. There was a massive checkup on the inside. And yeah, it was. Apologies. I need to apologise if Teo Calve ever watches this back, because thanks again to Sean with the wonderful Sensata Smart Witness cameras that we have on board of our machines that are used for all the judicial reviews and any reviews of incidents that are used by the officials. We've had another look at the footage, and yeah, it seems that there was just a big check-up and maybe a little bit of a push from drivers behind that didn't realise they were going to slow down that much. And all of a sudden, Jochen did just hit the back of Sasha Lenz, but it wasn't down to anything like misjudgment or any sort of feisty driving that was over the top. It's just one of these pinch points. And that is what happens, I'm afraid. So we have quite the delay and quite the clean-up operation to deal with here. And the fans, of course, will wait patiently. They know that this is just part of the racing sometimes. I know that a number of people in the paddock now will be hoping that they're not going to be late for the after party. But of course, that is not the priority at this moment in time. All jokes aside, this is all about making sure these trucks are separated safely and carefully, not damaged in any further way, and that the circuit and everything in the surrounding area is prepared so that we can get racing once again and have it done in a nice, safe manner. Thanks as always to our wonderful marshals and all of the officials that are down there working very hard in the sunshine. Without them, we would not be able to go racing in the way that we just do every single week. Or every week that we do it, of course. Thanks as well to the wonderful people that operate the rescue trucks that are being used in this big operation. It's always good to have them on hand. You can see the discussion going on over on the right-hand side there with the marshals, how they go about doing this and making sure that it's all safe. You can see Jochen's truck isn't that far off the ground, but at the end of the day, the idea that a truck is off the ground at all is not really ideal, is it? But hopefully they can get this cleaned up quite sharpish and we can crack on with the race and it does not get written off the record effectively. There was a moment last year in the second race of the season where Stefan Faas had a brake failure and took the barrier down at the Hungaro ring, and the race was red flagged and cancelled and taken off the record for the season. And hopefully we don't have to apply that here. But as you see, there is a lot of discussion going on of the best way to go about this, and not a massive amount of movement at the moment. You can actually see Georg Fuchs, the managing director, actually just went off the bottom left corner of shot there, so he's got a good close-up view of what's going on, and he's overseeing proceedings as well. And we can even see Christina down there as well, actually. She's just amongst the crowd as well. And now we can see your top, Christina. It's very bright yellow indeed. What does it look like from down there? Is there much going on?
Absolutely, Chaz. So you can see the spectators here, they got the best view on this, what we don't want to see, of course, on the racetrack. We saw Sascha Lenz taking some pictures from this truck already. He's got his cell phone out. Jochen Hahn strolling around. They got the top down from the racing suit. Of course, the good news is that they're all well and, of course, not in a good mood, but everything is fine. And health, the security system is really good working. That's the good news. And truck racing is really a secure sport, as we can see and witness right now here. They're with the marshals here, they're doing the best and try to keep that situation clean. And now, as you pointed out, Chaz, the question is, well, you see the towing machine over there, but how do you get those two trucks out of each other? So right now you can see that the crane is on and they're trying to get Jochen Hahn even higher to get his truck up from Sascha Lenz's truck. So Jochen Hahn is looking curiously at the towing machine over there, but of course, I think very grateful, of course, for the help. You can see lots of action right now going on here. Yes, and lots of spectators taking out their cell phones as well.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, as a spectator, you don't often see two trucks crash into each other and then remain basically welded to one another, do you? So plenty of pictures being taken down there, I'm sure. But as you rightly mentioned there, Christina, it's going to be a very tricky operation, this, because they can't obviously go in from the front or the back of these machines. They have to go in from the side, and it requires cooperation from the drivers as well. You do get an idea, though, when you see these guys stood by the racing machines. Just again, from this distance, you get an idea of the scale of these trucks. They may be a lot smaller than trucks that we see on the road in our daily lives, but wow, oh wow, they are still big old racing machines. And it's a real shame, this, because I think we were, I don't want to say the word fortunate because there was an incident at Most similar to this, but I think the two trucks were actually slightly at an angle to each other and they weren't perfectly in line like this, so it was easier to get underneath one of the front corners of one of the trucks. So they were able to sort of turn it away and move it a lot more easily. There you go. They've lifted Jochen's truck up actually from the front. And there you go. Sascha's truck removed from underneath. Top effort, that. Absolutely top effort by the marshals and officials. And then Jochen's truck will be gently lowered back down again. Now that is artwork, isn't it? The way they did that. Beautifully done. Now they've just got to be gentle in lowering Jochen's truck down again. Seems there is quite a bit of fluid from underneath it. Could just be water from the water jets on the brakes. And now we just wait to see whether they should be drivable, to be honest with you, but it depends, of course, what that fluid is from underneath Jochen's truck and whether it is something that would affect its performance in getting back. And it seems actually Jochen walking away. Maybe he's just going to get a lift back to the pit lane or the paddock, and his race will be considered. I've been told we are going to have a look actually from on board Antonio Albertetti. Down the inside and into Lachka there. It seemed like a quick lockup, didn't it? And then one way, then the other, and he's very sideways all the way out of the corner as well, up through the gears. Look at that, straight back on board with it though. He just grabs a gear very instantly. Here's a look from Andre Kurzim in the number 11 machine. Teo Calve directly in front of us. Left is Jose Rodriguez, and you have Steffi Halm to the front left as well. Now watch Teo Calve's truck, how it suddenly slows down, and then you'll see a bump as he then hits the back of Jochen. There's just a bit of a tap there, and then Andre hits Teo, and then bang, up in the air goes Jochen Hahn onto Sascha's machine. And all of a sudden, they managed to find themselves in what looks like clean air on the exit. Thanks as ever to Sensata Smart Witness for the views on that. And the very quick upload of the footage as well, because I know that it's very high quality stuff, so the files are absolutely massive. And hats off to our production team as well. And we have a quick nip down there to Christina as we see her still just amongst the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is really great to see, they applauded the marshals and applauded everyone in help right now. This is Luna. Hello, welcome. You saw the crash directly. What was it going on?
They were in like going so fast, and one gets up in the other, and it was so shocking, but it's it's ruined like a bit the race, but it's also so spectacular to see because it's my first race of trucks, and it was so cool. So yeah.
But on the other hand, we do prefer more the safe trucks. It is your first truck racing. Normally, we do see them compete until the end. What do you like about truck racing so far?
Well, the fact that we all get together, animate the car and those things. Like, I like the design of the trucks also, and yeah.
Thank you very much, Luna. So she saw the crash directly. She said to me at first she was in shock, but then afterwards, as she saw that everyone is fine and all right, she's great. So first truck racing, what an action to be for a first truck race.
Yeah, indeed. She was certainly in the right place for that one, wasn't she? But that's the thing. I was talking to a few people today about the fact that truck racing is just so bonkers to see when you get to see it for the first time, but let alone when you see an accident as well, because much like the vehicles themselves and a lot of the statistics that come with them, the accidents are also bigger in truck racing. But of course, the safety is phenomenal in this category of racing. The roll cages and the cabs themselves are almost bulletproof. You know, they're unbelievably safe. They're so sturdy, as you'd expect them to be at this size as well. You know, they have the strength to go with that size. Just because they're racing machines, they're not made ridiculously lightweight, and they're not really flimsy things that we race around in that can just fold in a strong breeze. They really are built to last, much like the trucks that you see on the road as well. And again, it's another wonderful sort of insight into the industry of just how sturdy these machines are. And of course, our drivers as well, they're absolutely hard as nails, as we say up north in the UK. Jochen Hahn, indeed, is a very tough character, so too Sasha Lenz. But these guys are built right for this sort of racing. They know it's tough stuff and elbows out, and that racing doesn't always go everybody's way. But again, a big hand to our organisers and, of course, the marshals and everyone involved, all the officials, for the fantastic clean-up operation there. It may not be the fastest thing in the world, but at the end of the day, that's not the priority. They want to get it done as quickly as possible, but, of course, the main thing is safety. And they have adhered to that very, very well indeed. And now as they bring the Iveco S-Way back in towards the recovery vehicle, Jochen will be towed away, and I'm sure the fans will give a big cheer and a lot of appreciation to him and everyone involved in that. It's not quite the live demo that we would have expected, but still, there's a reason that we practice these things, and they do actually do practices for these sorts of events and these recoveries in the paddock, and it's very, very impressive when you see it up close. It's always quite alarming, though, sometimes when you forget that it's happening and you walk into the paddock and suddenly there's like big blue lights everywhere, like there's some big emergency and somebody being extricated from the truck. And look at that, he's not even going forwards, he's reversing it as well. Now, that's showing off, if you ask me. But I believe there is an access point. See the paddock a bit further back, and whoa, I think it's actually just come off the trailer, or it's just come off the lift. And that might add a little spanner in the works, to say the least. They're going to lower it back down, and I imagine apologise profusely. I've been told we will be, if we restart this, we're going to be going full race distance, apparently, Christina, so we're still going to get our full race back with us.
Yeah, I think so too, and we're hoping that. As you can see, the truck fell off, and right now there's liquid pouring out of Jochen Hahn's truck in the front. They need to fix that hole. As soon as it got down, well, after the applause comes another small crisis, but I think the Bestia, which is written on this Bosque Rally Team truck, is going to solve that. But as you can see right now, different type of problem. I don't know if we would have a further delay due to the spilling right now on the racetrack. We do not hope so, because I heard that all the other trucks are already lined up in the grid. But so we hope Please stay tuned that we can see the racing action here soon. But right now, yes, small pushback in the situation.
Yeah, indeed. And I thought the only major delays for these weekends came from the flights in and out, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's a real shame that that's happened there. But they may have been reversing it for a reason. I'm not sure if they thought it was a better idea to push it back to an earlier access point in the paddock rather than doing an entire lap of the circuit. But yeah, it's very suddenly come off there, and the radiator in these trucks is usually very far back. But of course, all the hoses and everything connecting them do run very close to the front of the truck. We saw damage to Norbert Kisch's radiator when we had that huge crash in Hungary earlier on in the season. You could see all of the pipes all hanging down and spewing fluid all over the road. That's basically the same sort of area that they've hit here with Jochen Hahn's machine, I believe. So they're just trying to make sure that that's cleaned up as quickly as possible. And then we can hopefully get things back underway and have a very exciting race. But this is the thing, it's not really the biggest accident we've had this season. And we don't have many of them that cause stoppages, to be fair. But in the same way, it's the recovery operation that is the more, well, the one on the long side, basically. Takes a lot longer to do. And somebody there taking advantage to either get a selfie with Jochen Hahn or to just take a picture of the situation, or maybe just show him something on his phone. All of the officials now swarming the front of the Iveco and getting prepared to hopefully get it moving once again. Be interesting to hear Jochen's thoughts on all of this a little bit later on. There they go, lifting it up again. They clear everybody out of the way. They will hopefully get it moving once more. Driver. And we're going to have another look at the onboards from the incident yet again. And this is from the number 14 of Jose Rodriguez. So he's on the outside line now. So you'll see Teo on the right-hand side maybe hit the back of Jochen. There is the bump. And you'll see, look, Sasha Lenz runs out wide. Jochen tries to tuck back down the inside, but at the back end kicks out. So he corrects the front, and that flings the front left into the back of Sasha Lenz. And in that moment, it's very, very tough to get it spot on. And now we see the recovery once again. I've been told as well that the number 2 of Sasha Lenz could potentially be good to go again once this restart gets underway. That is if he's allowed to race again, because a lot of the time, depending on the category of motorsport, of course, if you're involved in a red flag stoppage and you have to be recovered, then you often don't get a chance to take to the restart. But I believe Sasha might have driven the truck back under its own power. I'll wait for confirmation on that, but we haven't had any shots of it being towed away before now anyway. But still, we now wait just to see the end of this recovery operation. They're all making their way back now through the pit lane and the paddock. Thank you all for sticking with us throughout this as well, wherever you may be watching from around the world. It's great to have you with us. And in a very roundabout way, it's always quite an intriguing situation to be able to display the scale of these recovery operations and the hard work that all of the wonderful marshals put in to all of our lovely viewers. So we hope that at least in some way this entire operation has somehow impressed you. And just wait now for them to complete this turn. It seems like maybe because of the way they've lifted it, it might just be on a bit of a steep angle to try and turn that way. But no, it seems okay now. And they're going to get up to speed. Now that they've cleared the edge of the circuit, I think they were just worried about the curb and the gravel, basically. The current restart time, I've been told, is 1:54 p.m., which is in 10 minutes' time. So that's just to make sure everything is all cleared away and prepared to go. And it does look like Sasha Lenz is actually there on the grid. So hats off to Sasha in the team. They have got one very sturdy race truck, it's safe to say. Now, there have actually been compliments before by other drivers that have raced trucks that Sasha has built and used roll cages made by Sasha as well, whenever there has been an incident, for example. And they have all complimented just how solid any of Sasha's trucks are. And I think that's a bit of proof there that it got mounted by an Iveco and yeah, it's managed to survive to then go and race again. It'd be interesting to see how it goes on. But of course, where it was hit was not as vital as the contact made for Jochen Hahn's side of things. Hitting the very front of it has certainly damaged quite a lot underneath. And the very vital front end of it as well, the radiators. So that is at least the end of this race for Jochen Hahn. And Sasha Lenz can go out and score some points now, which really throws a spanner in the works in terms of the fight for second and third in the championship. I was fully prepared earlier for it to be completed with neither of them scoring from this race. There's a close-up view of everything used to attach Jochen Hahn's machine to the massive orange recovery vehicle we have. You can see how the bumper bar has been bent in and moved around, and how little the bumpers are held on by. Of course, the bumpers are made to sort of break and fly off to absorb energy from contact in this championship. You can see that there is not really a massive amount that holds them on to the vehicle. But now onto the start-finish straight they go, and I'm sure the drivers and teams that are on the grid already will be welcoming that sight a lot. And I know that in the few minutes we've got before we get this restart underway, we could potentially speak to some drivers and see what their thoughts are, but we can't guarantee that. I believe I did see Christina making her way onto the grid, but we'll have to just see if they expedite things now that the truck of Jochen Hahn is being brought in. They may speed up the process and we might get an earlier restart, but that's just, again, me speculating. It's something that I'm quite terrible at, to be honest, when it comes to accuracy of the actual results. But out of all of that, somehow, we have only lost one truck from the race. Thanks to Franz from the FIA, who's just texted me to say that all trucks have been cleared to start the race again. So all of them are safe to start. I have noticed as well that we don't have Stefan Fass in the race. I was going to mention that earlier on, just before the contact, actually. They made their way down to turn one. And that was going to be one of the talking points, that despite Stefan telling us earlier he was going to be out for race one, they've clearly had further problems since then. Not been able to do it. And thankfully, Christina has made her way to the grid very quickly, and she's going to speak to Sasha Lenz.
First question, of course, are you okay?
Yeah, for sure, I'm really okay. I have nothing, so a little bit of drug, but everything fine.
Oh, we need to...
Kannst du ein bisschen vorfahren?
He need to make a couple of centimeters. As you can see, he's not... The tire is not on the line. Just a bit. And then we continue our interview. But of course, some centimeters do count. Rudy got it all managed. So as we can see, yep, thank you. As you can see, the truck is working, and we are very curious hearing a bit more of Sasha, of course. Can we continue?
Yes, ma.
Ja, Mama. Danke. So, truck, that's family business, but how was it to be then there on the other side with the helping hands of many people right now?
Yeah, the problem was I have a bad really fuck start. And then the first corner, I becomes every time a push from the back. Jochen tells me we have a lot of time there, so we speak a little bit. We shake hands and everything is fine. Nobody can do anything. Yeah, he becomes a lot of push from the back. I become the same from him, and then he jump on my truck. So looks, yeah, for him it's shit, really shit. So normal, I will fight on the grid, or not that he have a DNS. So yeah, but it's life. I have a DNS a lot of times this year, so maybe it's a good chance that I become the position 2 back.
Yeah, you were competing about the Vice Championship, of course. How good was it then to keep talking about it, because you need to race right now, need to get into focus? My full respect for that.
Yeah, you know, we are a small starter grid, and everybody speak together. So We are friends and we fight on the circuit. But now we have a little bit bad luck, so I have a lucky, so and then we will see, maybe the shockers on the backs are not working or anything, and I have the same shit and I have a DNS, so, but we will see.
We keep our fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Sascha Lenz, for talking to us right immediately after the crash. Really, chapeau for that situation. Right now, you can see the little frog maybe on the bottle. That's a gift from his child, and wishes him good luck. We do wish everyone good luck right now. Beware of that open doors. And so we get rid of the grid right now. Thanks very much, Sascha Lenz, for this open words. Lots of emotion here. And right now we're going to see emotion on the racetrack. Again, back to you, Chaz.
Thanks very much, Christina. And it's fantastic to see you get saved from a door and then you save someone else from a door. That's the only thing with these trucks. It's basically at head height when they open the doors, and it's not always the easiest thing to spot when you're walking towards them. It sounds really daft to say, but honestly, I've seen people walk into doors a lot. Anyway, the grid is getting cleared now. We've only got a few minutes before the restart. Fantastic stuff, though, to speak to Sascha. Thank you very much, Christina, and everyone involved in sorting that out, because it's great to just get the reaction from him. It's good that he's okay. The truck seems fine, but of course you don't know with these things. It was quite a big impact from behind, so he's just going to see whether anything's been knocked out of kilter, if there's a problem with the setup or anything now. But it is, of course, an interesting turning point in the championship, because there is now 14 points between him and Jochen Hahn. And in this race, if you finish in second position, you get 15 points. If you finish in third, you get 12. Sascha only needs to be within 10 points to take it to the final race of the season. And now Jochen is going to be starting right near the back of said race as well, as he's got a DNF from this one. So Sascha just needs to keep it clean here. And even if he finishes in third place, he could still take second in the championship from Jochen Hahn. This is why, in a way, I'm sure Jochen wouldn't be happy about me saying this, this is why we love motorsport, though, because it really does throw a spanner in the works, and you never know what's going to happen. And even when there is an incident, you don't know how that's going to have an outcome afterwards either, because I was determined that both of them would be out of the race after a big hit like that. But again, Sascha makes very, very safe trucks. Everyone in the championship makes incredibly safe racing vehicles here, but Sascha is renowned for it, and his big amount of grit and determination is going to see him fired up for this race. And I'm excited to see as well what happens with Antonio Albertetti and Adam Lachko. Will they reignite that fire of a battle that they had even on the way into turn number one? We have the 1 minute board in the air. That was nicely framed, wasn't it? In the perfect place for our cameraman to pick it up. Mike Fowl with the rocket launcher of an RF camera. And then you see the 30-second board being dragged onto the grid, ready to get us going once again. And there is again, I said calm before the storm earlier, didn't I? We certainly had the storm. Now I wonder if we're going to have any sort of aftershock. We'll have to wait and see. The weather's still nice, though. That's a positive. Wonderful to be here in Spain in the sunshine, I must admit. There's worse places to be on a Sunday afternoon. And I'm from Crewe, so trust me. Anyway, we've got an Iveco S-Way Bio-LNG pace truck leading the way around the circuit. And we get another advantage to have a wonderful look at it as well. Norbert Kish on pole position, just behind. And look at this, Frank is determined to get going. He's really throwing the Iveco and nearly rolls it over into the sand. Adam Lachko second on the grid once more. Now, can Antonio Albertetti get the start that he had last time? Because it was an absolute beauty of a start. Got right across the front of Sascha Lenz, then down the inside of Lachko when the contact happened. It was hard to see whether it was Antonio locking up and running into Adam, or whether Adam just didn't quite leave enough room down the inside. But I'm sure that will be looked at by the stewards. And you can hear everybody now really happy to see some more trucks and more action back out on the circuit. The air horns, almost a constant white noise in the background here in España. And there you go. Look at the amount of fans all out and ready and waiting. They're loving it. You get a glimpse there as well of the highway and how close it is to the edge of the circuit. Even out of our window here in the media centre, we can see it very, very closely. Less than a stone's throw away. Frank gets to do more laps than usual in the Iveco S-Way. We don't often have a situation where we go behind the pace truck itself as like a safety truck or what would be like a safety car procedure. A lot of the time, if there is an incident that puts one of our trucks off the road and it's completely immobile, and as you see, as we've had a demonstration here, it'll be a red flag scenario each and every time. Because a lot of the time, there's no point even risking the truck still circulating on the road with the potential dangers of it. You can see Shane Brayton's truck with a big old hole in the side bodywork-wise. I'll repeat the team name to make sure they know I've got it right, because it's the Apollo Tyres Tour Truck Racing Team. I've always been given it as an abbreviation of TOR. But it is Tour. Into Bugatti they go. And the Iveco S-Way making its way back up the hill. It was the only part of the circuit really where it seemed to struggle for traction when we were out in it yesterday. Everywhere else it feels so planted and so responsive. Even as a passenger, you can tell just how quick to respond the Iveco was. And it's almost time to do battle once more. There will be a big hole in the grid. Teo Calvé is not allowed to sort of slot forward into what was Jochen Hahn's starting position. So Jamie Anderson finds himself all alone on row 3, but that could be to his advantage. He could move over to the right-hand side if he gets a good enough start ahead of Teo Calvé. So, round 31.2 of the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship from Jarama is underway, and it looks like another very good start by Antonio Albertetti based on what we can see there from Sasha Lenz's view. Maybe even a bit of a bump on the way down the straight as well. Antonio tries to slot in front of him down towards turn 1, and he's already got it done. Amazing stuff from him. Norbert Kish is still side by side with Adam Lachko as they head into the first corner. They're braking very early as well to make sure it's all nice and tidy. No contact between the first couple at least. It's a little bit argy-bargy further back. John Newell running a little bit wide, but it looks nice and tidy from this side of things. And Norbert Kish leads the way as ever, as he often does. Adam Lachko holds on to second position. Then everyone else filters into view. Jamie Anderson down the inside of his theoretical teammate Sasha Lenz. The two of them sharing a lot of the same area in the paddock. As whoa, Teo Calvé, big send down the inside into the side of Steffi Halm. A big old hit there. Pushes her out wide. Seems like she still had the space on the exit. Looks very strange seeing Sasha Lenz's truck with no mudguards over the rear end of it. With there got Adam Lachko making his way up towards Ascari, holding firm in second place. Albertetti in third with a big old hole in the front left of his truck as well. But Teo Calvé, well, we thought he was going to be playing it safe this afternoon, knowing that he doesn't really need to worry about the Promoters' Cup as long as he finishes the race. But that's certainly not going to help his scenario if he's bashing into the side of the other trucks as well. He's got Jose Rodriguez right behind him. Jamie Anderson kicks the back end out there, trying to chase down Sasha Lenz, who in turn trying to overtake Antonio Albertetti. So if Sasha finishes in fourth place, he'll get 10 points in the championship, meaning he's only 4 behind Jochen Hahn going into the final race of the season. And breathe. A very, very lively start to the race once again, even after it being a restart. Everybody now making their way out of Monza down towards Tunnel for the first time, and we are going to go full race distance. That's the latest news from it anyway. Look at the speed these things do. Even after commentating on this for 2 years and seeing it in person, it still amazes me the speed at which they go around corners like Tunnel at the end of the lap. Shane Brayton seems to be going slower than Andre Kurzem in a straight line there. John Newell moves out to the right-hand side. Teo Calvé's bodywork is dragging along the floor as he comes down the start-finish straight. That's a very confused-looking Freightliner, unfortunately, for Teo. We've got Jose Rodriguez behind him, and I'm worried for the front left of Teo's truck actually after that contact. You know, he seems to be wiggling around quite a lot mid-corner and on corner exit. I really hope he's not damaged that front left to the point where it's going to affect his result. As look at that, Jose Rodriguez flings it down the inside. I nearly called him Jose Eduardo. But we have said that the only way that Jamie Anderson can cling on to a hope of winning the Promoters' Cup is that Teo has a DNF here. And I really am worried that that contact might have contributed to some damage that may not see Teo complete this race here. That's a scary scenario for the Frenchman. I can imagine his father, Fabian, is going to be tearing his hair out if that's what it causes. He's got Andre Kurzim right behind him now as Teo. Rodriguez has gone up into second in the Promoters' Cup anyway, so Jamie Anderson leads that in 5th place overall. Rodriguez is a 2nd place Promoters' Cup driver, and then Teo Calvé in 3rd. But knowing Teo, he's a very determined young man. He's going to just make sure that he drags that thing right to the end. Regardless of damage, he will drive the wheels off that thing. Jose Rodriguez moving up a position, though. He'll be happy with that, at least, to go onto another podium in the Promoters' Cup. But this is only lap 2. I'm getting ahead of myself a lot here, to be honest with you. But again, speculation has never been my strongest point. Andre Kurzim just behind Teo Calvé right now. He's going to be hoping to score some solid points as well. Maybe even just get in the mix again in the championship overall, but wasn't quite as close at his end as who was that sideways around the final corner. John Newell flinging it sideways as they come through Tunnel. There's Adam Latchko in 2nd, then it's Albertetti, Sasha Lenz, Jamie Anderson. Sasha and Jamie were teammates last season in basically the same identical livery, just different colours. But this season, Jamie was quite the late entrant to the season, so Sasha has actually teamed up as Team Lowenpower with Shane Brereton in the team's championship. Another set of standings where Norbert Kish is at the top, with Antonio Albertetti, of course, as Revesh and T-Sport. There we have a broken up view of Jamie Anderson's cab, at least. He continues to push on, chasing down Sasha Lenz. Jamie is all but confirmed as a Titan driver for next year as well, by the way. He's in 6th place in the championship outright. He's had an amazing turnaround since the early engine issues in the first half of the championship. We got to Slovakia Ring and he took some victories, and it was remarkable, absolutely remarkable to see. And since then, he's just been on a storming run up through the championship standings gradually to make his way up into 6th place. And he's on his way to be classified as a Titan driver next year. It's basically the championship's equivalent of Pro and Am, based on previous results or any sort of career experience. If you're a gold or platinum FIA approved driver, then you'll basically be put straight into the Titan class. It's a great achievement for Jamie, but it means that, of course, going into next season, he wouldn't be able to go fighting for the Promoters' Cup if that was the case. Miss Steffi Halm, she's in a bit of, I was going to say no man's land, but no woman's land at the moment in 6th position. She's got a few seconds ahead of her to Jamie Anderson and a few seconds back to Jose Rodriguez, so she can just get on with her race, score some good points in 6th, and she's a few places ahead of Teo as well. So in the overall classification, that will help her out. Now, Jose is under investigation for overspeeding. That will not help Steffi out, because that's one position out of the way if Teo Calvé manages to gain anything from Jose being penalised for that. And also Shane Brereton is under investigation for overspeeding as well. Now, whatever the damage is on the front of Teo's truck, which is more than just bodywork damage, he seems to have been able to find a way to drive around it for now. And he's looking like he's back on pace once again. He's all over the back of Jose Rodriguez. It's lap 4 of the 12, so this is the sort of first third of the race being completed. Andre Kurzim putting his nose down the inside a little bit there. His bumper is really flopping about on the front of that machine, causing a lot of drag on that front left corner. This is the run up through Pegaso, up over the hill. Amazing shot there as they make their way up the massive incline under the humongous Dunlop bridge that we have, or at least that the circuit has anyway. It's not ours. But Teo is really looking like he's starting to pressurize Jose Rodriguez now. It's almost like he had a problem for about half a lap and he didn't know how to drive around it, and now he certainly knows how to drive around it, and he knows how to drive around Jose Rodriguez as well. I think has Jose got a problem? He seemed to slow down a lot there for a moment. Not sure quite what happened. Heinrich Clemens Hecker as well is, according to the timing screen, 1 lap down. And Jose is, I think, maybe just staying out of the way of Teo for the Promoters' Cup. I'm not quite sure what the situation was there, but he certainly looked like he had a problem accelerating out of Portago. And now Teo Calvé moves back up into 7th position outright in this race, 2nd place in the Promoters' Cup. As long as he finishes there, he will still be Promoters' Cup champion. It's not going to be the way that he wants the truck to look in all of the pictures in the race where he could take the title, but still, it's hard racing. And he's doing everything he can. There's number 17, Shane Brereton, with John Newell, number 18 behind him. Two drivers that are real stalwarts of the British Truck Racing Championship. Shane winning that back in, I believe, 2015, as he says as he checks his notes. Yes, it was 2015. It probably took a lot longer to say than it should have done. Anyway, aside from that, I've been told that a certain Shane Brereton that we're talking about now has been given a 10-second penalty for overspeeding, unfortunately. And number 14 as well, Jose Rodriguez, also getting one, so that's going to drop him down the order even further. So 2 penalties straight off the bat in the first third of the race there for 2 of our drivers, unfortunately. Shane Brereton and John Newell together on the road. That means John's going to be promoted up a position. He might even get some overall championship points there, getting into the top 10, which would be good to see for John in only his second race meeting with the championship. He might even go further than that, you know. He might even go to 9th position because Rodriguez will drop down as well below him. That'd be really good stuff for John, because I was speaking to his team earlier on today during warm-up, and they were all saying, you know, John's realistic about his chances in the championship. He knows he's not going to come into this and dominate and be the driver right at the front of the field. He's realistic and knows that it takes time and seat time, as he keeps mentioning in his interviews, that it's all about that progress. It's good to see that drivers have the right mindset about these things, because you know what racing drivers can be like. You know, they have a lot of self-confidence and self-belief, and it's a wonderful thing to have, but sometimes they see the negatives in a situation if not winning every race. Someone that is normally winning every race, though, on that note, is Norbert Kish, and he continues to lead the field once again. Only 2.5 seconds ahead of Adam Latchko at the moment, though. He's not opened the gap up massively, but he's just doing enough to maintain that at the moment, and he wants to go on to take his 16th win of the season. He was nearly going to record, I can't even get that out. He was nearly going to equal his record of 19 race wins. Yes, 19 from the 2015 season, which was his second championship year. But he's going to just fall a few short this season. It's still been very, very impressive by the Hungarian. Everybody in the paddock is very complimentary of Norby and his amazing team that he brings with them. And he and Baloo, which is the name of his big red MAN, they are certainly at one, that is for sure. You often get these scenarios where a certain driver with a driving style really matches the way that their machine is set up, and they get the absolute maximum out of it. And Norby is a prime example of a driver that is in his prime with an amazing machine below him that certainly he understands. And interestingly enough as well, thanks to Steve Miller at Apollo, he's actually pointed out that if John Newell does get promoted, ironically, if with what I'm about to tell you, if he does get promoted ahead of Rodriguez and Brereton in this race, he will actually get a Promoters' Cup podium in his second race meeting in the championship. That would be really good to see. I'd love to see John's reaction to that. He'll be a very happy boy indeed. So we go into the second half of the race now. 6 laps completed of the 12. The counter in the top left, I will remind you, tells us how many laps we've completed, not which lap we're on. Pretty much every truck in shot with quite a bit of bodywork damage on it. There is Steffi Halm, on her way into turn 1 for the 7th time of asking. She's 13 seconds off the lead, but she's not got much to worry about right now. She's got a few seconds either way. Teo Calve right behind is going to lose just the 1 point to her in the overall championship. Actually, 2 points in this scenario in the overall championship. She's just doing everything she needs to do to maintain those gaps at the moment. As long as she keeps the pace on a decent level, she will be fine. Teo was 0.3 of a second faster on that last lap, but with the gap being about 3.5 seconds between the two of them, it's going to take a lot more than just 6 laps for him to bring that gap down. Look at the speed of these things as they go over the top of the hill. You see now everybody just in a bit of a rhythm at the moment. There's a bit of a stalemate throughout the field. Steffi is, I mean, it looks like she's really pushing on, and I'm sure she'll be just holding on to any pace that she can to make sure that gap stays as it is with Theo Calve behind. And there is Antonio Albertetti ahead of Sasha Lenz. They've dropped Jamie Anderson a little bit here, but Jamie is still on to take a Promoters' Cup race victory. Theo Calve has taken both of them so far this weekend. It would be Jamie's 12th of the season, and that would make it now 23 appearances on the Promoters' Cup podium for Jamie, out of 31 races. I must say as well, it's been great to get the race back going again, to be honest, considering the incident and the delay that we had. Apparently Heinrich Clementecker had some steering issues with his truck, so that's why we see him out of the race, unfortunately. And here is Antonio Albertetti trying to chase down adversary Adam Lachko. He wants to get not just an overall podium, but a second place here. He was third in the first race of the weekend, was Antonio. And everyone was over the moon to see him on the podium. And, of course, rewarded with a trophy. The team were very happy as well. That was one of their aims for this weekend, was to get Antonio on the podium and get some silverware for the team. Look at the way they monster those curbs through Ascari. Fantastic. As they come over the crest of the hill, suddenly you find the truck in the air, which just defies all laws of physics anyway. Now, I'm not sure if I'm just being daft, but I didn't see... Oh no, Jamie Anderson is there. It just seems like that gap back from Sasha Lenz has opened up a hell of a lot in the last lap or so. I just completely missed seeing Jamie come through shot. And there is John Newell, currently running in 11th position. And we're going to have a quick chat with Jochen Hahn. Christina is down there with him to get a reaction on what happened earlier.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jochen Hahn. Wow, what an incident it was. Thankfully, we do see you in one piece here. Everything is all right. But how do you feel in this moment?
It's a bad situation. So it's the start from Sasha was wrong. Antonio have a very good start, and it's blah, 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 blah. In the end, I'm in the top of Sasha. So for me, it's a bad situation, clear, but we can repair it. So, and then we must fight for the second place in the championship in the second race. So maybe it's an omen. We do it.
You're still on fire then?
I have no different solution to say we must fight in the second race. Now I wish Sasha the position 4 or 5, so then it's not so hard in the second race.
How optimistic can one person be? That's so great to see from you. Great effort from your team. Can you see that? I mean, the feet are sticking out of the truck right now. They're really doing a great work. Great work from your team.
Yeah, you know, in the end, the team lose and the team wins. So from this side, we do it together and we fight. So the day it's finished, when the checkered flag, the last checkered flag, it's done. So from this side, cross the fingers and we will fight for the second place in the championship.
All the small lady things. Thank you very much, Jochen.
You are welcome.
Once again, so fantastic to hear from Jochen Hahn. He's just such a great character, and he just always knows the right thing to say. You know, he can only do what he can do, and as he said, he's got no other solution than to fight really hard for it in the second race. So just to recap on their championship situation then, if Sasha Lenz finishes 4th in this race, he will score 10 points, which will put him 4 points behind Jochen Hahn. If Sasha then finishes in 5th place in the final race, he will score, as he does the maths, 6 points. So Jochen would only need to finish in 8th place or better in that scenario. Of course, the more positions you move up, the more Jochen would need to move up as well. But it's going to be kept simple for us, because in the final race of the season, it's going to be just 10 points for first, then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sasha will be reversed into 5th position on the grid if it goes this way, but of course, Jochen will start right at the back of the grid. Again, you got that? we'll recap that later, trust me. We're going to be going over that a lot later on. There's bodywork in the middle of the circuit there, and I believe that is... Well, I think it might be off Jose Rodriguez, but part of me thinks, because it's got that white stripe down the side of it, that might be off the side of Shane Brereton's number 17. And the fans are still airing the horns and making a lot of noise around the circuit because Antonio Albertetti, their hero, is starting to close in more and more on the back of Adam Lachko as this race goes on. And before long, they're going to be hoping that he can pile a massive amount of pressure on and get a podium for T-Sport Benau. Well, theoretically, he's already in a podium spot, but a better podium spot in second position, I correct myself. But now Norby is starting to really open the taps here. 4.7 seconds is the gap at the very top. We've had a second warning for penalty markers for Jose Rodriguez. So he could get further penalties even from where he is now. It's been confirmed, thank you Barbara, as ever, that the bodywork is from Shane Brereton's truck, number 17. So me and my identification of the white stripe somehow got it right. There's Adam Lachko. I once again want to show my appreciation for just how good these Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliners look. They are so cool to look at. Gorgeous shape. It's nice to see the differences as well between the usual sort of cabs that we have from the MANs and the Ivecos and the Scanias and the big long nose on the front of the Freightliner. It's amazing how tiny the cab is though, and the drivers really sit very close to the back. It's almost like just a sheet of metal between them and the back of the machine. But honestly, they really do sit with their backs completely against the rear end of the cab. Now, luckily enough, that huge piece of bodywork is massive enough to be avoided for the rest of the race with no real implications. And while the circuit may be littered, not quite the cleanest in terms of truck bodywork at the moment, the racing itself is of course clean because we all run on 100% renewable HVO diesel. There's Jamie Anderson making his way in towards turn 1. And then Steffi Halm and Teo Calve. And then Antonio still putting the pressure on behind Lachko. And he's still all over the back of him, trying to find an avenue, trying to find an opportunity. He's going to have one more lap after this one. We're on the 11th lap of this 12-lap race. It just doesn't look like he's able to do enough at this moment in time. He's right there putting the pressure on him at least. I've just seen footage from further back as well. There was contact between Jonathan Andre and Heinrich Clemens Hecker as they were going through the right-hander at Varzi further down the order. Thanks again to Sean, who sat with me here from Sensata Smart Witness, showing me some of their onboard footage as well. Always good to see it. And I've been told that Jamie Anderson has completely dropped down here. Look, Jamie's completely gone. He's gone right down to the bottom of the order. I'm not sure if that's either a transponder issue or what, but maybe if I'm not sure if I've missed this while looking at the footage, but Jamie Anderson has completely dropped down. I've just noticed on my timing screen that when they have the little arrows next to them, if they've gained or lost a position, everybody pretty much had gained one from the sort of second half of the field. And Jamie Anderson, well, he's there. You can see him. He's clearly there on the road still, so I thought I wasn't going bonkers. And now suddenly he pops back up again. Very interesting. Sorry if I've scared any fans of Jamie Anderson for a moment there. He's still on his way to take the win in the Promoters' Cup. At least in this race anyway. Teo Calve in second position in that class. He's on his way to be crowned Promoters' Cup champion for 2022. And look at this, Norbert Kish already doing some drifting for the fans, lighting up the rear wheels on the exit of Farina. And he knows that the job is pretty much done for the season. He's only got one race left, and he can certainly relish the fact that he gets to have a good hard fight through the field. But in this moment right now, he's at the front, he's on his own, and he can enjoy the moment and show off some of his incredible driving techniques and the control he has over this MAN. He's going to make it down the hill now into Bugatti. 31st race of the season. And he's already got 15 race wins, 15 pole positions this season, and 20 podium finishes in 30 races. This is going to be the 21st of them. Round Monza once more he goes. He's going to fling Baloo through the right-hander at Tunnel. And he's going to go down across the line and take the checkered flag as Norbert Kish wins the 31st round of the season in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Adam Lachko holds on to second. Antonio Albertetti gets a podium on home soil. Everyone's going to go mad for that. Stefan Faas is not in this race, unfortunately, and he would have loved to be on the Promoters' Cup podium, but it's going to be Jamie Anderson that takes 5th place in that one, and finishing 7th in that race and becoming the 2022 Promoters' Cup champion is going to be the young Frenchman Theo Calvé of Bagheera ZM Racing. He's going to take the checkered flag, and he will be a very happy boy, I'm sure. Well done to Theo Calvé, well done to the team. A phenomenal achievement for the young man, and I can already see his smile from here, to be honest with you. But a very strong podium once again. 3 drivers that have already won the championship before, and there is a definite memento for somebody to take home after the weekend. There's Jonathan Andre roaring past down the start-finish straight. And the drifting begins from Norbert Kish. Lovely stuff. You can hear behind as well, there's more drifting going on. And I'm just looking, actually, with the penalties that were applied, I'm just looking at the gaps between Jose Rodriguez and John Newell. So Rodriguez was 28.9 seconds off the top spot. So that would put him on, what, 38.9, of course. Shane Brereton would then go to 50.7 behind the top spot. So John Newell would be promoted up a position in the Promoters' Cup, but unfortunately would not finish on the podium on this occasion, I'm afraid. Jose Rodriguez would hold on to that by about 5 seconds. But there is your race winner for the 16th time this year, Norbert Kish. Dominant as ever in these first and third races of the weekend. And the marshals are out to show their appreciation for our drivers and our competitors. Adam Lachko with another podium finish for his weekend. He got one yesterday in race 2, finishing 3rd. Now he goes one better with a 2nd place. There's Jonathan Andre in the number 66 Lion Truck Racing machine. He finishes that race in 12th position. The last of the finishes in that race, actually. Stefan Faas, Jochen Hahn and Heinrich Clemens Hecker not completing the race. Everyone showing their appreciation too for our recovery vehicles, which make their way around the circuit after the fantastic operation they did earlier on. And here into the pit lane and into the final corner will come Theo Calvé, who has just become the Promoters' Cup champion. And he will receive the trophy for that even just later this evening when we have the end of season awards right after the event. And it's going to be at the, I believe it's at the golf club up the road. We don't have as far to travel as we did when we had it at Misano last year. And I'm sure there will be a very emotional Theo Calvé in there in just a moment. And of course, because he finished on the Promoters' Cup podium in this one, we will get to see him on the podium, and I'm sure Christina will try and have a chat with him in just a few minutes' time. There is Norbert Kish, though. This is just normal procedure for these guys by now, but again, you have to admire the amazing work effort of Reveish Racing, everyone involved, and Norbert Kish. And Lachko moves over to their right-hand side and slots into second place. More solid points to the championship for him. He'll be pleased with that one. And Antonio Albertetti will be very welcome on the podium, I'm sure, in front of his home fans. See the sunshine glinting off the front of the MAN as Bakish climbs down. And Teo Calve has to park up at the side behind Jamie Anderson. And of course, Jose Rodriguez will be on the podium as well. There is Chaba giving a big hug to Norby, having a bit of a laugh after the race as well. They're always in good spirits, aren't they? Sounds like Adam Lachko's just emerged from his truck as well. Excellent stuff. There's Tim Frost from Esport Bernau. They wait to congratulate Antonio on another solid race. There is Adam Lachko celebrating with his team as well. And they're all going to have a quick debrief in Parc Fermé about what's gone on. There is Antonio giving thanks to his team. There's a lot of people here to see him. There's Big Tom as well at the back. And then Tim Frost giving him a hug as well. He's such a respected figure in the paddock, is Antonio. And he's such a gentleman as well. As soon as he puts on that helmet, though, he's still as savage and fast a racer as anyone. And speaking of fast, well, Teo Calve, he's done it. He is Promoters Cup champion for 2022. And the smile is humongous on his face right now, and understandably so. It's well deserved after the amount of effort and time that he and the team put in. He came very close last year to do it as well with Shane Brereton. And then here comes the debrief now. He's saying that the rear wheels were spinning and he got a hit from behind. Adam congratulates him, I should say, with a simple nice. Short and sweet from Adam Lachko, of course. You've got to love that. There's Lewis, our cameraman, with the dual GoPros on the right-hand side. But now it's just time to enjoy the moment for Teo Calve. Still one race left to go. And I'm sure it's going to be all gloves off now for the finale of the season, especially as we have the fight between Safa and Jochen Hahn to look forward to. And we're going to speak to one very happy man now, as Christina will chat to Teo Calve.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Calve. You did it. Your new Promoters Cup champion. And you've been telling your team, first of all, from all the pushes from the back, very, very lively. But let's first talk about this title. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's really nice to win the title this year. It was really not easy year, so I think the best gift we can have. I'm really happy. I really want to thank the team. It was, like I said, not easy year, quite unlucky races, and but I learned a lot, and I think it's really nice for the team. And yeah, thank you.
How much did you evolve, not by learning on the racetrack, but also as a person?
Yeah, this year, honestly, I think it was the biggest year of my life with racing. I took so much experience, but in all with, like you said, as a person, how to reflect about the races and everything, how to do smart race. Because, for example, this race was a smart race because I didn't push that much. Okay, I had little contact, but it's because I was out, and when my wheels took back the grip, I went on Steffi, but it was a mistake. Sorry for that, but yeah. It's a really nice year. Nice for experience.
Nice it is, of course. It's a great year for you. But also this race, lots of action, as you said, red flagged, and then you need to focus again. First of all, how did you see the situation before the red flag?
Yeah, the first start was strange because Jochen brake like early, or I don't know what, and I pushed him just a little bit, but then behind it came and boom, boom, boom. I hear every truck behind pushing, and me, I was in the middle, couldn't do anything, like, stop please, because behind it was pushing hard. But then the inside was open, so I went in, and I was fourth. But then there was a red flag, and the wait was a little bit long with the sun because it's hot in the truck. But yeah, it's like this. It can happen, incident like this. But it's fine that all drivers are okay because it was quite a big crash, I think. But yeah.
And a way to cool down could be champagne right now on the podium.
Yes, of course it will be.
Thank you very much, Promoters Cup champion Theo Calvé. So he's done the job. Let's have a look at the standings.
Yes, indeed. There you go. Norbert Kish takes the race victory ahead of Adam Lachko by 4.1 seconds. Antonio Albertetti scores another podium and adds to his incredible tally already. 279 podiums now. Sasha Lenz finishes fourth, gets some strong points ahead of tomorrow. Sorry, I say tomorrow. The race is later on today, flipping out. Jamie Anderson finishes fifth in the top position in the Promoters Cup. Steffi Halm sixth. Theo Calvé claims the Promoters Cup championship with seventh overall. He's followed by Andre Kurzem. Jose Rodriguez, with that penalty, still manages to hold on to a position, but John Newell gets an overall top 10 and his first overall points in the championship. Jonathan Andre finishes 11th, being moved ahead of Shane Burton by just half a second after the penalty gets applied, and then Heinrich Clementecker was classified, but still 11 laps down with his steering issues. And here we are, drivers ready for the podium, and Jose having a quick chat there with Theo about what went on. Clearly nothing too untoward, of course. They're still smiling about it. But this is one of the wonderful things afterwards with drivers. You know, they don't know exactly what everybody's thinking at the time when they're involved in a race like this. So to see them discuss it afterwards is so good. And, you know, to do it in such a respectful way, you know, they just give their own side of the story. And as it was mentioned before, everybody in the paddock is all friends. Everybody talks and they all get along. You know, on the racetrack, it's all fierce racing and it's competitive because at the end of the day, this is a competition. They don't all go easy on each other all the time. That would make the racing very dull indeed. Antonio Albertetti moves up onto the podium, taking third place. Adam Lachko gets second. And race winner once again for the 16th time this year, Norbert Kish. Nearly catches our cameraman Lewis out there with a bit of a stutter on the way in. But he moves back up onto the top step once more. And they will have the trophies brought out for them just now. One by one, they will receive them. Third place first for Antonio Albertetti. And he gives a gesture to say that that one is for all the wonderful fans out there. Adam Lachko raises the trophy high indeed. Very high, because Adam's a very tall man. And then Norbert Kish on the top step of the podium. Both hands in the air. And a big smile on his face, as we often see from the very talented Hungarian driver. And we'll get the national anthem of Hungary now for Norbert Kish.
This great moment, this excellent moment.
And there we go, the Hungarian national anthem for Norbert Kish. Trust me, it was playing. I could barely hear it at my end, but it seems like the Bagheera ZM guys have not had a simple podium all weekend, really. It seems like Adam Lachko was getting attacked by the wildlife there. And then, of course, yesterday we had Theo putting his hat on a bit early, thinking that the German national anthem was finished. But oh no, they never finished. These national anthems have been played in full length this weekend, as opposed to a lot of weekends where we often have a slightly shortened version for the purpose of speeding up proceedings. Anyway, three fantastic drivers on the top step of the podium. And, of course, wonderful pictures to be taken of all three. It's the first time in a while. Now, here's a weird thing to notice. First time in a while where all three drivers have actually had their own branded caps on the podium. There you go. There's eagle-eyed for you. Still great banter between Norbert Kirsch and Adam Lachko. Now, they have another race to think about later today, not tomorrow. We're not racing on Monday, although I seem to think that a little bit earlier. So I don't think they're going to drench each other. I think it's going to be a case of everyone in the paddock getting soaked on this occasion. And Antonio, I think he's seen the VIPs up on the roof there, and I think they might even get a soaking as well, you know. I'd give it a go, but maybe not. Maybe he's going to save the champagne for T-Sport Banau and a lot of their VIPs that they have there as well. It'd be lovely for them to have. I'm sure they've already got some champagne, actually, but even more from up there on the podium. Your top three overall, ladies and gents. Three of the finest truck racing drivers that the sport has seen. All previous champions. Adam Lachko winning it in 2017. Antonio Albertetti winning it 3 times in 2005, 6 and 10. And of course, Norbert Kirsch, now 4-time champion. 2014, 15, 2021 and 2022. And now we wait for the champagne to be replenished on the podium. We have Dominic there making his way back out. You can see a very happy Teo Calve on the right-hand side. Jamie moves over to grab some water and whatever else and a towel. Very, very hot this afternoon compared to yesterday. Yesterday there was quite the breeze, and honestly it was only just t-shirt weather at most points. And making their way up onto the podium now will be our top 3 drivers from the Promoters Cup. We're going to have Jose Rodriguez first up. He gives everybody a wave. And Teo Calve makes his way up. It may be second in the Promoters Cup in this race, but he is the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Promoters Cup champion. There's a mouthful. Jamie Anderson makes his way out onto the podium and takes another win to add to his tally. As mentioned, that's number 12 this season, the 23rd time that he has stepped onto the top. Onto the podium at least. And now they all wait, hands on hips alike, for the trophies to be brought out. Applause and handshakes given out in fair amounts. And a well done from everybody involved. And Jamie Anderson receives his first place trophy, with Teo Calve receiving one of the most important podium trophies he will ever receive in his career, I'm sure. And in just a moment we will get the national anthem. I think Teo seems to think he thought he's got the wrong trophy or something there, I'm not quite sure. And there you go, the British national anthem for Jamie Anderson, top step of the podium for him once again. And now the drivers will have their pictures taken. And I imagine we may have a changing of the caps, although Teo used to always carry his cap up onto the podium, but I've not seen him do it for a while. Jose Rodriguez has his other, what we're going to call the alternative cap, their self-branded cap for this occasion. And the respect between Jamie and Teo continues on, and they've had a fantastic fight this season. And Jamie's done an amazing job to finish this one in second place. And now, again, they have another race to think about later on, so they don't want to drench the race suits yet. Jose Rodriguez pops the bottle. And it's quite the tame celebration on the podium this time round. I'm sure that bottle of champagne will live on the shelf or Teo Calvé for quite a while. And there we go. Cheers to the camera. And we're going to say cheers to Antonio Albertetti, who is with Christina for a quick interview.
Absolutely. Cheers. What a weekend it is for you. Podium again. Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a very good weekend, you know. I mean, the first start was a little bit tricky. We have a little bit of problems. And I thought, because I make a very good start, you know, and I thought, maybe now it's not going to be the same. But yeah, I was lucky to do another good start, you know, get in front of Sacha. And then the last lap, I pushed a little bit to Adam to see if he makes any mistake or has any problem. But as usual, nothing happened. So, but I'm happy with the third place. You know, I think it's a very good weekend for the whole team.
Before the red flag, there have been lots of pushing, kind of a domino effect. How did you see that before the red flag?
I don't really see that, you know. I just feel it in the start. I have a big push from behind, and then I push Adam. You know, both were like that, you know. So we are lucky that we can continue without major problems. But I don't know what happened behind. Really, I don't really know what happened. So we will see in the videos.
Yeah, watch it on YouTube on our channel. But yes, of course, there's another race left for us. Will we see some donuts from you?
Probably. I would say, yeah, probably, yes.
Gracias.
Okay, thank you.
So Antonio Albertetti, he's very happy, and we will see if he's really up to the donuts. I think so. And we will now have a look at the standings of the Etrc Championship and Promoters Cup.
You can always rely on Antonio. Good old Antonio. So the championship standings as they are, Norbert Kish exceeds 400 points this season. Absolutely amazing. Jochen Hahn, though, and Sascha Lenz, only 4 points between the two of them now going into the final race of the season. That's going to be an exciting encounter. Adam Lachko and Antonio Albertetti are both safely in 4th and 5th in the standings. Jamie Anderson secures 6th as well, which is an amazing feat considering how slowly his season started. Steffi Halm is 3 points ahead of Teo Calvé, so she's going to have to work hard and make sure that the young Frenchman who's starting on pole position alongside her, no, he won't be actually, will he? I'll figure that out in a bit, sorry. We've got Andre Kozim in 9th place. He's safely there as well ahead of Shane Brereton. Then we have Lucas Hahn, Stefan Faas, Jose Rodriguez, Anthony Janiek, René Reiner, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, Martin Gibson, Jonathan Andre and Thomas Robineau completing our 19-point scorers at this point of the championship. It's certainly close throughout all of that, though, and you never know how many points can change hands with certain positions, or at least cause the positions to change around. There is confirmation, though, with 17 points to his advantage. Teo Calvé is the Promoters Cup champion for 2022. Jamie Anderson finishes in 2nd place. He could still get some more solid points on the board, though, but it will not change the position. Shane Brereton 3rd, with Stefan Faas in 4th place. Jose Rodriguez is 5th, with Heinrich Clemens-Hecker behind him. Lucas Hahn will remain in 7th for sure, with Jonathan Andre next up. John Newell moving ahead of Martin Gibson in this round of the championship. Martin currently rounding out the top 10 after racing for Reiner Racing earlier on in the season at the Hungaroring. Behind him, we have Thomas Robineau and Louis Requenco tied on 33 points, as they have been for quite a while now. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on 23. Then it's Emma Mäkinen, Stefan Kirsch, and Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort rounding out the entire Promoters Cup field that we've had with us in this championship. We're going to move very quickly down to Christina again, and we're going to speak this time to Jamie Anderson.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much. Is this kind of a bittersweet trophy for you? Congratulations for the win in this race, but the Promoters Cup title goes to Teo Calvé.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as we'd say, it's the first loser, but you know, we can't take it all negative from this. We've had some phenomenal pace this year, and I think Mazzano let us down with a real struggled event at Mazzano last minute from the team. And then ever since Hungary, we've really changed our game. You know, and not only that, it was the time at Hungary, it brought the team together, and I don't think we can be disappointed. Yeah, we've lost the title, but you know, we've had some great pace and some real good battles, and I think that's the main thing we need to take away from it.
And silver's also shiny in the sun, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it depends which colour you like better, gold or silver. So, but yes, it's been good, and it's been eventful, and there's been a lot of things going along with it, and sometimes some of the luck don't go your way, but in all, I think we've had a very good and strong season.
And we thought, as watching you, that you evolved also in racing skills. What was that first season for you? You said you spoke about your team, but you personally, how did you get more comfortable on the track?
I think it all works from the team. You know, it was a big thing to have a big accident in Hungary, and a very first season with the team. You know, our team's fully fresh this year. Yes, a few bits from last year, and as soon as we all had to work through the night at Hungary, it just brought everything together for the team, the confidence to see exactly what the boys were there to do, you know, and I can't fault them. It's not all from me, and they make me feel comfortable because I'm comfortable with them repairing the truck. And this is a big thing that a lot of people don't understand. You can be the fastest driver on the planet, but if you haven't got the team behind you, haven't got the truck and the comfortability and everything with it, it comes to nothing.
Absolutely does. Thank you very much, Jamie Anderson. One more race to go. Good luck for that.
Thank you very much.
So as I said, one more race to go. We're really excited. Yes, it's the last dance, but still race number 4 is ahead of us. But let's have a quick look back at race number 3, because it took a while due to the red flag.
Yes, it did indeed. Quite the longer procedure than we were expecting, but still, we got things underway in very anticipated conditions, but big contact between Antonio Albertetti and Adam Lachko, Sasha Lenz and Jamie Anderson, and then, of course, Jochen Hahn and Sasha Lenz brought quite the halt to proceedings as the two of them were separated, the two trucks ending up on one another in a very convoluted way. But the racing would get back underway after the long red flag period, and it would be a similar situation, though, at the very start, as Antonio Albertetti got a good getaway. Hats off to all of the recovery crews and the marshals, of course, for the effort they put in to separate the trucks. But the field was all very eager to get going again, and everyone kept it nice and clean in the opening encounter, besides maybe a bit of contact between Teo Calve and Steffi Halm. Antonio Albertetti was instantly defending from Sasha Lenz and would then go on to try and take second place overall in the race. There was a scare for Teo Calve, as it seemed that the truck wasn't quite at pace for a while. There was even a scare for Jamie Anderson, as his transponder didn't seem to work for a lap, and I thought he'd disappeared off the face of the earth. Apologies to all of those that messaged me saying to stop scaring them, because there were a few people. Norbert Kish, though, was absolutely supreme at the front once again. Once he got the lead at that first corner, he just disappeared off up the road and left everybody else to battle behind. Sasha Lenz will go into the final race of the season, though, with only 4 points needed to gain over Jochen Hahn for second place outright. Jochen will be starting from right near the back of the grid, and Sasha will be 5th. It's going to be a very exciting finale to the season, and I cannot wait to get it back underway.
We absolutely do. At 3:40, we will be back here with our live stream ahead of race number 4. 3:40 due to delay. It's a new time. And those guys here in the back, they did a really, really great job, the tow trucks. Thank you very much for helping our guys off. Gracias a todos. Sí, puede. Because he's on duty right now, of course, we are too. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a long race, but we do see some smiles at the end from our new Promoters Cup champion, Teo Calve, and also Antonio Albertetti back on the podium again as a local hero. So we are very curious about, of course, the battle for the vice championship of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's between Sasha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. Jochen Hahn 4 points in the lead, and it all comes to a showdown at race number 4. Don't forget to tune in. Until that, ciao, ciao.